4 wives and there not be jealousy. Well, we now know there at least 1 wife.
We've always said there was. I've admitted it even when
We've always said that there was jealousy and that we always deal with it.
I think that you have greatly downplayed it until this season. Yes, you have, but you've addressed it as a but not until now have we, 6 seasons in, seen how hard it is for at least 1 wife.
Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. It's Monday, April 14th, and guess what? Sister Wives is making its return this Sunday with 5 brand new episodes and 4 tell-all specials. But here's the scoop. Tamron Hall won't be back to host the tell-all for season 19. Do you remember when she used to host those tell-alls? She did it for about 4 or 5 seasons, and then out of nowhere, she was gone. The last tell-all she was part of was back in 2015, where she really confronted the wives about jealousy. It was pretty tense. There was a lot of silence on set, and no one seemed eager to dive into it. Christine famously admitted that her biggest jealousy regarding the show and Kody was all about time, specifically where he chooses to spend it. Tamron didn't hold back, either. She basically called him out, questioning if he was really managing his time well. So what do you think about that?
It means yes. The silence means yes.
Yeah, I mean, what I was trying to say is you asked for a specific example, and I'm not going to rat Christine out. That's what I was trying to say. Girls
well, that's very sweet. So rat yourself out, Christine.
I think we all just have different levels of jealousy moments at different times, depending on where we are within ourselves.
Kody really didn't like being called out for his jealousy. He was frustrated that people claimed he had downplayed it, especially since that wasn't the case until 2015. Up until then, no one on the show had really confronted him about how much time he was spending with Robyn compared to the other wives. It was actually Christine who finally blew the whistle on him that season, pointing out how much time he was dedicating to just 1 wife while neglecting the others. This wasn't a new issue. Christine had been voicing her concerns ever since Robyn joined the family. That season, Christine became a bit more outspoken, but everyone was still in this protective mode around Kody, trying to shield him and the show from the truth. Tamara never bounced back after that, and Meri even attempted to defend Kody at one point, along with Robyn, who tried to downplay the jealousy. But let's be honest, every one of the wives felt jealous at different times. It wasn't just Christine. She was simply the only one brave enough to speak up about it. In the world of broadcasting, silence can be a killer. When there's a lull in commentary during an interview or even on a show, viewers might just switch off. You really want to keep the dialogue flowing. I mean, there was this one moment that lasted 5.5 seconds, an eternity in TV time, where no one responded to a question about jealousy. Just look at Meri, who was already estranged from Kody at that point. She couldn't muster a word. Janelle stayed quiet too, and you could see the disdain in Kody's eyes. Then Christine, almost reluctantly, chimes in with, "Yeah, it's time." Things took a turn for the worse when Tamron called Kody out for not sticking to his so-called schedule. Maybe he wasn't living up to his promises. I'm bringing this up because something pretty shocking is happening this week. Someone is making a comeback on Tamron's show. Plus, it's worth noting that Suki is still on the series because once you have a moment like that with Kody, you're out if he doesn't like you. If he feels cornered or uncomfortable, people get fired. That's why over the seasons, there have been so many different faces on the show. If someone asked a question that made him uneasy or pushed too hard, they were shown the door. This was the last season Tamron was on, and I'll share the final part with you soon. Then we can dive into what's next for Tamron and the sister wives, and where Kody spends his time. Honestly, that's what it all boils down to for me. I think about time a lot, probably more than I should, but you've mentioned before, Kody, that you have, I wouldn't exactly call it a system, but you can tell that everyone is trying to keep an eye on the calendar and stay aware of the time. Back in the day, they used to have all those tell-alls where everyone would sit together and confront each other, which made for some pretty guarded conversations. Now that it's more one-on-one, things get a bit more interesting. But when Kody is confronted about something, he tends to shut it down or come off as dismissive, rude, and sometimes even a bit sexist towards Suki. For some reason, Suki just goes along with it and acts the way Kody wants her to. I'm not sure if she'll stick around after the season. Tamron's last season as the tell-all host was quite memorable. She confronted Kody about possibly being a failure and almost exposed the family's facade. When someone spends enough time around them, especially if they're a journalist, they're bound to ask questions that go beyond the scripted ones. It's hard not to want to dig deeper after watching the show, right? Tamron has always been that kind of journalist. She likes to explore the deeper issues and discuss cultural topics. She's had the Duggar girls on with their books and isn't afraid to tackle the controversies surrounding these shows. This week, Meri Brown is making a comeback and will be on Tamron Hall, which is pretty wild considering she hasn't interacted with them in a decade due to being fired from the show. Now she's going to sit down with Tamron and share what's coming up for the rest of the season, as well as what's happening in her life. It's a bit shocking, really. Just think about it. Kody and Robyn would probably dread going anywhere that forces them to face those tough questions. In a hostile environment, anyone who challenges their choices or tries to offer a different perspective on what's being presented in the show is seen as a threat or unsafe. Even today, some of those who dare to ask tough questions still face backlash. I feel unsafe for the family because I don't just accept what they say as the truth. I get the background they come from, even if some claim they've moved on from it. But let's be real, breaking free from cult programming isn't easy. Kody's behavior hasn't changed at all since he stepped away from polygamy. I still see him as mean, sexist, and downright rude. He can be a bully, especially towards his kids. Anyone who holds him accountable is labeled as unsafe. What I find particularly odd about these tell-all interviews is that they're always conducted by women. Kody Brown has never been comfortable with his wives being around men or engaging with them, so it's no surprise that the interviewers are always female. I don't think that's just a coincidence. Plus, Kody only agrees to interviews with people who will be sympathetic to him, those who won't challenge his actions or put him in a position where he has to defend himself. Kody often feels a sense of superiority over women, especially when he finds himself being interviewed by men, something that doesn't happen all that frequently. It's tough for him to steer the conversation because he's up against someone who can see right through him. My husband, for instance, can't stand Kody and has him all figured out. I think a lot of guys are onto him too, and they're not afraid to hold him accountable. With women, though, he senses a bit more sympathy, and he thinks he can pull the wool over their eyes and manipulate them. Take Suki, for example. He finds a way to control her, and she doesn't push back as much as we'd like her to, mainly because she knows that if she does, she risks losing her job. This week, Meri is set to appear on the Tamron Hall show. When I think about Meri going back there, it strikes me as a risky move. But now that she's out of that situation, she can step into that space without worrying about upsetting Kody. McKelty mentioned that once someone leaves a tell-all and a host is absent, it usually means they've been let go, either for making someone uncomfortable or for asking a question that didn't sit well with Kody. So, it's likely we won't see Kody or Robyn on Tamron's show anytime soon. But Meri is thrilled to be going, and you can feel her excitement. Tamron recently announced her guests for this week, and on Wednesday, she's got 2 exclusives lined up. The first part of the episode will feature Meri Brown, who will share what's new this season and what's happening in her life. Following that, Fry and Angel Carter Conrad will join to discuss Aaron Carter's passing and a new documentary titled The Carters, which includes never-before-seen footage of their lives. Angel, by the way, is Aaron's twin sister. So, Meri will kick off the episode, and it's bound to be interesting. So, she recently posted on Instagram, saying, "Well, this is fun. Check your local listings on Wednesday. I'm really looking forward to my little chat with Tamron. Honestly, before leaving Kody, she would have never done something like this, like literally never." She also showed off a stunning look in a black dress at the Global Beauty Awards event. She mentioned how it was such a pleasure and an honor to spend the last 2 days there, attending events and classes and getting a peek behind the scenes. It was truly an amazing experience, and she loved spending those days with everyone. She tagged a few people, saying she now has 2 new friends from across the globe, calling them treasures. Apparently, she also went to Lulau with Diane, who runs it. She said, "It's always so good spending time with you. Your smile and laughter light up a room." Then there's Robyn Brock, who she expressed admiration for, saying, "I honor you. My life is better because you're in it." Thank you just doesn't seem enough for what you bring to my world. I love you. And honestly, she looked fantastic in that black dress, showing off her shoulders, something she would have never done before leaving Kody. People are buzzing about her weight loss, but honestly, I'm more focused on how she's confidently showing her shoulders and neckline now. That kind of thing was a no-go when she was with Kody. He would have definitely said, "You're never going to wear this." And Meri would have shamed her daughters, like McKeely and the others, for wearing something like that back in the day. She's really come a long way. Now, Meri is stepping into a previously hostile environment to talk with Tamron, and I think she's going to realize that Tamron is actually a good person, not someone to be afraid of. I really think this just shows that Meri is moving on. It's also super strange that this is Kody's show, yet he and Robyn haven't done any promotion for it. Have you ever seen a reality show where the main people involved don't do any interviews? Kody and Robyn haven't done a single on-camera interview this entire season, nothing. Meanwhile, Christine, Janelle, and Meri have been the ones doing most of the promotion. Even now, after leaving, they're still out there carrying the show for Kody. It's pretty wild. I feel like Kody is avoiding it because he knows everyone's not a fan of him, but honestly, if that's the case, maybe reality TV isn't for him. What do you think about Meri's new look and her going into what's supposed to be a hostile environment? But honestly, it doesn't seem that hostile at all. Tamron Hall comes across as so nice and sweet, really wanting the best for these women. What do you think that says to Kody and Robyn about Meri going there? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and click the bell so you never miss an update. Thanks for watching, everyone. Bye.